coming to standing, relaxing the arms down. I'm just going to start with some easy shoulder circles. So just circling the shoulders forwards and backwards. Good. And then reversing in the opposite direction. Good. And then let's bring the hands onto the shoulders and just take some bigger circles with the elbows. You can add a little knee bend here. So just bending the knees. Just having a glance down though. When you do that, check that your feet are facing forward, so parallel, rather than turning out. So we're not doing our Charlie Chaplin feet. We want to have those feet facing forwards. And then reversing the direction with the elbows. And then relaxing the arms down. Good. And then let's just wrap those arms around the waist. So coming into some gentle twists. Oh, I'm just going to let a leg come in. Andre. Good. So making sure that when you're wrapping those arms, you're looking in the direction that you're turning. Thank you, Ian. That's good to know. Feel free to just watch and take notes. I am recording it as well, so I'll be able to send you a copy for when you're feeling less injured. Good. And then as you do that, let's bring the hands up to tap the shoulders. So you're just tapping that shoulder as you twist. Still taking it easy here as we're starting to get warm. And then coming back to center, so we're just letting someone else in. These waiting rooms are a pain. And then let's take some arm circles. So just circling both arms all the way round from the back to the front. So nice big circles. Hello, people that just joined. Nice to see you. Just starting to get warm here, so you don't need much. So that feels really tight in the shoulders. Don't force it, just bend the elbows a little bit. And if you could just check that you're on mute, so you don't get any background noise, that would be good. Someone's not on mute. I can't see who it is. Good. And then just reversing the circles the other way. So again, remember you can bend the elbows if you need to. Good. And then just shake the arms out. So shake out the wrists, shake out the shoulders. And then I'm just going to start to move through the feet a bit now. So just pressing from foot to foot. Still keeping the toes in contact with the floor. So we're not coming in a little jog yet, but we're just rising from foot to foot, starting to warm up through the ankles, through the soles of the feet, through the toes. Just trying to get as much movement as we can. You'll just check that you're on mute. I know it's annoying, but there's someone who isn't, and it's just giving us a little bit of background noise. Why that is, it looks like you all are. No, yeah, you're good. And then let's take that a little bit quicker. So just rising from foot to foot. Letting those arms relax, keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. Good. And then staying up on one foot, we're just going to circle around with the ankle. So just making those circles round. Good. And then reversing the direction, trying to get as much movement as possible through that ankle joint, through the sole of the foot, through the toes. Good. And then let's change feet. Good. And reversing the other way. Good. And then let's take the feet a bit wider and start to circle out through the hips. So nice big circles. else hear that background, or is it just me? Sounds like there's kind of a buzzing plane in my flat. No, hopefully it's just me. And then reverse it the other way. Good, and then relaxing the arms down, let's reach our right arm all the way up, so finding a big stretch there down the side of the body, and then we're leaning over, coming into a long side stretch. So nice tall reach with that top arm, as if you're reaching to the top corner of the room. And then drawing in from your centre, so drawing in from the tummy, coming all the way back up. Good, and then changing sides, so lifting the opposite arm up, lifting up and over, nice long stretch. Good, and then coming back to centre. Let's bring the feet a little bit closer together now, and we're going to open out with the hips. So we're taking the knee out to the side and then bringing it back in. So same leg, we're opening out and then bringing that same leg back in. So like you're opening, closing the gate is what we sometimes say. Or we're just trying to get some of that rotation into the hip socket. So if that feels quite tight, if you feel a bit clunky in the hips, just keep it low. It doesn't need to be a really big lift. Remember, when you're doing your warm-ups for your football, don't start with really big kicks. You know, you often see footballers doing this along the sidelines, and actually if they're not warm, it's just going to damage your hamstrings and your hips. So make sure you've got your heart rate up a bit before you do all of these big kind of stretches for your major joints. So nice small movements is always better. Good, so just do a couple more on each side. And then we're going to start to lift our heart rate a bit more, so getting a bit warmer. So just coming to an easy march here. Just starting to pump those arms forwards and backwards. And as we do this, let's think about our posture. So nice and tall through the spine. We're drawing in from the centre. So we're thinking of that gentle engagement of the abdominals. So just thinking of gently drawing your belly button into the spine. It's going to help you to keep nice and stable, keep the balance, and also protect your back if we can activate those core muscles. And then let's start to lift the knees a little bit higher here, remembering just to go at your own pace. So if that already feels enough, just keep it low, or you can start to reach those arms a little bit higher. Just imagining that you're climbing a rope, you're pulling those arms down. Seeing if you can lift the knees perhaps a little bit higher here, if that also feels okay. Just checking in on your breathing, check that you're not holding your breath. You want to be still breathing fairly naturally here. Good, let's do 8 more here. If that's too much with the arms, just keep with the legs. So 4, 3, 2, and then we're going to take those feet wide. So coming now into a wide march. If you can, keep up that pace. If not, just keep it a little bit slower. You don't need to go at my pace. Just checking in with your breath, checking in with your heart rate. If it feels like it's getting a bit out of control, just keep it slower. Otherwise, if you want to work a bit harder, you can lift those knees a bit higher, make those arms a bit bigger, moving the feet a bit quicker. Good, let's go for 8 more here. 7, 6, 5, for 4, 3, and then we're taking it into a twist and a reach. So we're reaching to one corner and then to the other side. So as you do that, you're stretching your back leg. Now be careful if you're in pairs that you're not going to punch your partner. And you're really stretching all the way with that arm. Making sure that as you reach, you're looking in that direction that you're reaching. So turning through the hips. If you want to work a bit harder again, take a little bit quicker, bend those legs a bit more. So starting to get down into those quads, front to the thighs. Otherwise, just keep it a bit more gentle here. So we're going to go for 8 more here. Remember, if it gets too much with the arms, you can just do the legs. For 3, 2, 1, and then we're reaching that arm all the way up and over the head now. So like we did in that stretch, we're reaching to the top corner Fully stretching that arm if you can. Still with those legs moving here. Don't worry too much about what they're doing as long as you're keeping those legs moving. Good, so let's go for 8 more here. 7, for 6, for 5, for 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, and then bring it back to that easy march. Take a nice deep breath. You can keep this low or you can keep it a little bit higher if you want to keep that heart rate a bit higher. And then we're going to take our feet wide again and we're coming into a hamstring curl. So I'll turn this way so you can see. We kick the foot up to the bum and I'm just going to push the arms forwards and backwards here. So like you're doing a little squeeze of the foot up towards your bum. And that's going to really switch on those hamstrings, switch on those glutes. Like we're doing some cheesy 80s aerobics. Good. Who doesn't love 80s aerobics? Good, let's go for 8 more here. 6, 5, for 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's bring it back to that march. And then we're going to come up onto the toes, so little kind of swivel of the hips. So we're not going into the full-on jog here, but we're just turning through the hips. So we're starting to mobilise those muscles around the waist. You can think of, again, some cheesy dancing. So just swiveling those hips, getting a bit more movement into the lower back, starting to work those core muscles again. And when we do this, we want to stay up high onto the toes. So watch that you're not pressing your heels into the floor. You want to be nice and high onto the balls of the feet. And then we're going to start to move around the room. So just shuffling from side to side. And you can take this into a little jog, or you can just keep it into little steps, like little crab steps. Whichever one you're doing, you want to stay up on the balls of the feet. That means we can change direction really quickly. So we're going to do that now. So just starting to change direction as you move around the room. So perhaps moving sideways, sideways, forwards, backwards, maybe one and then the other. Imagine you're dodging your opponent, whether you're on a pitch or in a boxing ring, just shuffling around, nice and light on those feet. And remember, when we're moving around, we want to keep our weight slightly forwards. If your weight's back, you're more likely to fall over. You want to keep your weight always slightly forwards, so you're always on that front foot, literally. So staying up on those toes. Let's do this for about 10 more seconds, just shuffling around. Good, heart rate should be nice and high now. Let's go for 3, 2, 1, and then just bring it back to that easy march. Let's shake those arms all the way up over the head. Nice deep breath in. And then breathing out, shaking the arms down. Good, so hopefully you're feeling a bit warmer. I certainly am. Take a sip of water if you need it. Try and keep your feet moving. And then we're going to go into our first round of circuits. So I'm going to grab my timer. So we're going to do 45 seconds per exercise and have a 15-second rest between. If you need to take longer rest, then absolutely fine to do so. So what I'll do is I'll show you the exercise and then I've got my timer, so we'll get started. So first exercise, we've got a combination of some knee lifts and some squats. So we're going to do 2 lifts with the knee with the right leg. So we lift the knee twice and then we keep our feet wide and we come down into a squat and stand and squat and stand, and then we change legs. So we do two knee lifts with the left leg and then 2 squats, squat and stand, squat and stand. So on your squats, feet are facing forwards. Make sure that your knees don't knock together. That's the #1 point on a squat, is you want to keep our knees facing over the toes. We're pushing our hips back as if you're sitting into a chair and then coming up. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much longer because we want to get moving, but I'll talk as we go through. So we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, and off we go. So 2 knee lifts and then 2 squats, Remember, you can take this at your own pace. Doesn't need to be quick. You can focus more on that control and that form. Or if you want to work a little bit harder, get your heart rate up, maybe you take it a little bit quicker here. Good, so nice and low with those hips as you sit back into those squats. If you don't want to do the arms, just keep the arms by your sides as you do your knee lifts. So there's lots of different levels that you can work at. We've got 5 more seconds. Good. Last one. And rest. Good. Give the legs a little shake out. Try to keep the feet moving between the exercises if you can. So next exercise, you're going to move from side to side. So check you're not going to bash into anything or anyone. And we do a little hop. So we're hopping and then tapping the foot behind. And then we hop and tap. Now, if you've got any dodgy ankles or feet, I'd say just take it into a step and step behind, step and step behind. Otherwise, it's like a little jump. So if you're lifting up and over something, and if you want to work really hard, aim to get that high jump and high jump. You can use those arms to help you if you like. Okay? So we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, and off you go. Springing from side to side. Good. If you're just doing a step, maybe try and get a little bit lower into those legs. So working into your quads, working into your glutes. Good, lovely coordination there. Really nice. Good, we've got 15 more seconds. Remember, you can keep this quite small if it's feeling too much, or you're going for that height as if you're lifting up and over something. For 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good. Keeping those feet moving if you can between exercises. Okay, next we've got some lunges. So like we did with our squats, most important thing here is that our feet and knees are staying in line. I'm going to turn this way so hopefully you can see a bit clearer. This way. So we're stepping back with one foot. Both legs are bent. I'm not turning that back leg out. So both feet are staying facing forwards. And then I'm stepping the foot together. I'm going to step back on the same leg. So we're always working on the same leg on this side. So it's going to really feel it, or you're going to feel it in those quads and glutes. I'll turn this way so you can see from the side. We're stepping back, both knees are bent, shoulders are staying on top of the hips, and then you're pressing onto that front foot as you come up. So I'm not letting my body tip forwards. I'm keeping nice and tall. Okay, so let's go in 3, 2, 1, and off you go. Stepping back, pushing off that front foot as you come back together. Good, very nice. So thinking about those core muscles here. So each time you step together, draw in a little bit more from your center. So thinking of drawing in, belly button into the spine. If you want to, you can add some arms, so you can reach those arms up. Just makes it a little bit harder on that balance. Or you can just keep them on the hips. Remember, we want to have both of our feet and knees facing forwards. That's it. Good. Keeping that chest lifted. Make sure you're not dropping forwards from the back. Last one. And rest. Give it a little shake out. I don't need to explain the other side because it's exactly the same on the other leg. So we're going to go straight into that in 3, 2, 1, and off we go. So big step back, pushing onto that front foot as you come up. So we're coming to about the right angle with that back leg ideally. Or you can take that leg a little bit further back, but that's going to work some slightly different muscles. It's going to be more of a stretch into the front of that thigh. Remember, if this doesn't feel good in the knees, just keep it small. So you're just coming more into a little step back, using those core muscles each time you step together. Good, we've got 10 seconds here. Remember, you can take this at your own pace. It's a tough one. We're really working these quads today. And rest. Good, give the legs a shake out. We'll be pleased to know we've got an arm exercise next. So we're going to go into some punches. So we've got 4 jabs. So finding your boxer's fists, thumbs on the outside, fingers wrapped. 4 jabs forwards, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hooks, so keeping the elbow bent, coming around the corner, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 4 uppercuts, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can do this whatever pace you like. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hooks, 2, 3, 4. And then 4 uppers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's go in 3, 2, 1, and off you go. So nice and strong with those arms. Think of each punch as an individual punch. You're not just letting those arms swing. You want to feel that punch start and stop each time. Good. Working on that full extension of the arm as you jab those arms out in front. Keeping that elbow high because that's the bit that you're getting the width on those hooks. And then we've got those uppercuts as if you're getting someone underneath the chin. Good, keep going here. We've got 10 more seconds. These are looking really good. Keep up that pace, keep up that power. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and shake it out. Excellent, good, that's the end of our first set. So take a sip of water, try to keep your feet moving, just stepping from side to side. Take a breather, and then I'm afraid we've got to do that all over again. But you all looked pretty good at that. Any questions on any of the exercises? Give me a thumbs up if so. Cool. I'm hoping that means no questions and actually it's all good. I think so. Okay, so first exercise again, we've got our 2 knee lifts. Just to remind you, knee lift, 2 squats, and 2 squats, and then we change sides. All right, so we'll go in 3, 2, 1, and off we go. Nice big lift, pulling those arms down into those squats. Good. And if you want to work a bit more into the legs, just slow it down, maybe take those squats a bit deeper. Or if you want to go more cardio, take it a bit quicker. Maybe you can even add a little hop on those knee lifts. You're feeling really up for it. You can add a little jump on those squats if you like, but absolutely no pressure. Just moving in whatever way feels good for you. Good, we've got 5 more seconds. And rest. Good, shaking out the legs. Next, we're going into our springs from side to side, or it's a step and a lunge behind. Okay, we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, off we go. So keeping our hips and shoulders facing forwards, we're not rotating through the body. Again, our weight is slightly forward, so we're feeling almost like you're ice skating here. So if you think of a figure, not a figure skater, a speed skater, they're always going to be down here because that's where they're going to have the most balance, the most speed. So you want to get down nice and low into those legs. Good. We've got 10 more seconds here. These are looking great. Good. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Excellent. Good. Yes, I liked Kristen Lee's interpretation of that one. It's almost like Strictly Come Dancing there. It's perfect. Good. Next, we've got our lunges. So we're stepping back on one leg and then stepping the feet together. So all on the same leg here. Remember, try not to let your chest drop forwards. We want to keep our shoulders right above the hips. Working into that leg strength, working those core muscles each time you step those feet back together. Good. Don't worry about the speed on this one. Better to have that control. So if you're really wobbling around, just take your time. So find your balance, bend the knees, and then step together rather than going really quickly. Better to find that control and that strength. Good. Shaking it out, shaking out those legs. And then we've got same thing on the other side. The shoulders on top of the hips, drawing in from the center, and off we go. That back knee comes down towards the mat, that 90-degree angle. Perhaps have a glance down. Check that your feet and toes are facing forwards. Quite common for that back leg to turn out, so you want to keep those back toes facing forwards, those hips facing forwards. Good. Remember, if you want to add those arms, just throw you off balance a bit, as you've just seen. Slightly more of a challenge. Good. We've got 10 more seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Shaking up those legs. Last exercise, let's go for it on this last 45 seconds. We've got our punches. So 4 jabs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 hooks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 uppers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Joining in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to move around, pretend you're in the boxing ring, feel free. Otherwise, thinking about those tight core muscles, imagine you've got that belt wrapping around your center. Or you can come into that little boxer shuffle. You're taking a movement from side to side, finding your opponent, going into those jabs. Obviously, you won't be doing these moves on the pitch. Hopefully not anyway, but hopefully it will help you with your coordination at least. Some of that balance. Remember, we want to keep that weight forwards, onto the toes, nice and light onto the feet. And rest. Good. Second set done. Excellent work. So let's keep those feet moving so we're not bringing our heart rate down too quickly. Maybe let's come back to some nice easy shoulder circles, just stepping the feet from side to side. Just bringing that heart rate down, bringing our breath slightly more back to normal. And circle the shoulders the other way. Good, really good work. All right, so take a sip of water if you need it, and then we're gonna grab our towels or bands or football scarves or anything that you found. Tea towel even, although tea towel is probably a bit small. Just something that you can pull on for a bit of resistance. We're gonna do a little bit of upper body strength work before we come into some of our stretching. Okay. So let's have our feet about hip width apart, shoulders nice and relaxed. So whatever you're holding on to, we're going to find a bit of resistance. So if you've got band or scarf, just pull slightly apart so you're finding that resistance. We're going to keep that tension, and keep that tension as you reach the arms all the way up over the head. So it's a really simple move here, it's not complicated, but I want to keep that resistance on the band. Keep that pull. And then as you bring the arms down, think of pushing your hands forwards, but keeping that resistance. So as you lift your arms up, we're trying to keep them fairly straight, so we're not letting our elbows bend. And we're going to do that again, so keeping that resistance. If that felt really easy, pull a bit harder. And at the same time, push those hands forwards as you lift. Good, and again, pushing those hands away as you bring the arms down. So we're going to do this 2 more times, just a couple of points here. As you lift your arms, try not to arch and lean back, because then that's going to just crunch into your lower back. So you want to keep your hips slightly tucked under. Think of squeezing your bum, squeezing your glutes, and that's going to help to protect your lower back here, particularly if you've got any weakness in your lower back. Good, and then on the next one, we keep the arms up over the head. We're going to bend the elbows and bring the band just in front of the face, so quite close, almost touching your nose. And then stretch those arms back up. And again, so we're bending those elbows just to shoulder height, and then reach the arms back up. If you've got a stretchy band, you can pull apart on the band here. Good. If you've got like a looped band, you might want to try just placing both hands inside and pulling one down if you've got quite a tight band. I don't think, yeah, oh yeah, we've got one person with a loop band. That's it, good. Let's go for 2 more here. Hopefully you'll be feeling this in your shoulders. And then release those arms down, give them a little shake out. Shake out the shoulders. And then we're going to take the band behind the hips and now work our triceps, our upper back muscles, so our lats, our trapezius muscles, and also get some opening in the chest. So a little bend with the knees, slightly tipping forwards, and then we're pulling apart on that band or towel, keeping that tension as you push the arms back as far as you can really, and then bring them down to tap the hips. Now, if you're quite tight in the shoulders and the chest, you might not lift them very far. That's absolutely fine. We're just trying to get a little bit more flexibility into the upper back and the shoulders. And at the same time, we're working on that strength in those muscles in the back. Because what tends to happen when we're sitting at a laptop all day, we round forwards, we get quite strong here, we get a bit weak in those upper back muscles. So if we can do these sorts of exercises, not only are we opening through the chest, but we're also strengthening those extensors of the back. So let's go for 4 more here. Good, keeping that chest lifted. Try not to look down, so look forwards with the eye line. Last 2. And last 1. And release. Good, give it a good shake out. Circle those shoulders. So getting rid of that band. So we've got about 10 more minutes. So we're going to do just a couple of exercises to strengthen our ankles and calves, because that's so important, as you know, for any kind of sport. And then we're going to come into some stretches. Now, if you need or you want to grab a chair or something to balance on, maybe even a wall or a mantelpiece or something, feel free. It might help with some of the exercises here. So feet, let's have feet together actually. So toes and heels as close together as you can. Knees touching if you can. And then we're going to rise up onto both feet. So high up onto the toes, legs are straight. And then push the heels down as if you're squishing something underneath your heels. And again, so we're rising up high onto the toes. And then squeezing those heels together as you lower down. If you're really wobbling here, feel free just to come and use something to rest on. I haven't got anything, but you get the idea. And again, let's think about where our weight is. So if our weight is back here, you're going to find it really hard to balance, and you're also going to be crunching into your lower back. So see if you can bring your weight slightly forwards. Almost imagine that you're looking over the edge of a cliff. You're slightly leaning forwards. Good, let's go for 4 more here. Hopefully you'll be starting to feel this in your calves. Keep squeezing those ankles, big toes together. And last one. Good, give those ankles a little circle. I'm actually going to grab a chair for the next one. So if you have got something handy, or maybe perhaps just come to a wall after you've watched the first, so you can see what I'm doing, and then perhaps move to a wall so you've got a bit of balance, or if you've got a kitchen top. So we're going to do some single leg raises. So bringing one foot next to the ankle, and then this time we're just rising up high onto the toes and then pressing down again. So try to control it as you lower down. Try not to just collapse down. If you control it on the way down, you're going to be working just as hard as you lower down as when you rise up. Good, really nice. And one thing to watch here is that we're not rolling onto the outside of the foot. So you want to press evenly onto the toes. If you feel that your ankle is rolling out, see if you can press a bit more onto your big toe. We're going to go for 2 more here. I'm sure you'll be feeling your calves burning. We're going to stretch them in a sec, don't worry. And then give it a good shake out that lower part of the leg, shake out the ankle. And then let's go onto the other side. So we'll go for 10 on this side, rising up nice and high onto the toes. You'll probably notice that one side is a lot stronger than the other. And that's very common. But if that is the case, when you're practicing this, because I know you'd all be practicing this every day now, when you're practicing, perhaps just do a few more on your weaker side, or start with your weaker side, because we tend to always start with our dominant side. So if you're right-footed, start with your left foot. I'm sure it goes the same with your football drills as well. Good, let's go for 4 more here. Last 2. And last one. And shake it out. Good, let's do some nice calf stretches now. So if you've got a wall, you can come to the wall, or you don't need a wall if you've got your balance, which I'm sure you all have. Stepping 1 foot back leg is straight, front leg is bent. Try to have both feet facing forwards if you can. Just try not to let that back foot turn out here. And we're trying to get that back heel down onto the floor. You can't really feel that stretch. If you want more of a stretch, perhaps lean forwards a bit. That kind of changes where in the calf you feel that stretch. Maybe takes it a bit higher, a bit deeper. Good. And then let's change feet. So really you want to be holding these kind of stretches for at least 10 seconds. A bit longer if you've got time. But remember, there's no point stretching cold muscles. So when you're going back to your football, don't start with stretches, start with warming up, so mobilizing, so all of those things we did at the start, and then go into stretches. Good, and then shaking it out, moving the chair. So we're just going to come down onto the floor. You'll be very pleased to hear, and just have a nice little 5-minute stretch to finish. You might want to pop an extra layer on if you're a bit sweaty, just because it's probably going to get a bit chilly as you start to cool down. So feel free to grab a jumper or something. And then let's come down to lie on our backs. And just relaxing here, just letting everything sink into the floor. We'll keep the knees slightly bent. And we're going to start by taking a deep breath in to reach the arms up opposite the chest. And then breathe out to take the arms all the way back over the head. And then breathe in to lift the arms back up opposite the chest. And breathe out to bring the arms down. Let's do that one more time. So deep breath in, lifting the arms. Breathing out to take the arms back. Breathing in to lift the arms up. And breathing out to bring the arms down. And then from here, we'll take the arms a bit wider. And we're going to take both knees over to one side. So we're coming into a twist. So you're keeping your feet down on the floor. Knees go over to one side, and then if it feels okay in the neck, just turn the head to look towards the other side. So you're getting a nice gentle stretch for the neck as well. And then carefully bringing the knees back to center and changing sides. So knees go to the right, head turns to the left. Feeling that nice stretch for the lower back. And then coming back to center. From here, we're going to do a nice little massage for the lower back. So think of pressing your lower back into the mat, so like you're squashing something right underneath the lower back, and then you're releasing, so you've got a bit of a space underneath your lower back. So it's just a little press or a tuck of the hips, and then you're tipping the hips back, creating that space underneath the lower back. So we're just going to do a few of these in your own time. And this would probably be my #1 exercise if you get any lower back pain, to do at the start of the day, the end of the day. And do it when you're standing up. You don't need to be lying down. Just a little tilt forwards of the hips and then a little tip back or arch of the back. Really good if you get any tightness in the lower back. So let's just do a couple more like that. And then just finding what we call our neutral spine. So it's about halfway between those two positions. And then we're going to bring our right knee in towards the chest. So hugging the knee into the chest, giving it a good squeeze. And let's take some little gentle circles with that thigh in the hip. Again, this is quite nice just to massage the back, the hips, the glutes, and just get a bit more movement into the hip joints. And then let's reverse it the other way. And then we're going to take hold behind the thigh, so not behind the knee, behind the thigh, and just very gently start to stretch the leg. Now, it really doesn't matter if that leg isn't fully straight. We're just going to that point where we feel a stretch down the back of the leg, so into the hamstrings. So just gently drawing that leg towards you. And this is the perfect time to be doing this when you've had a bit of a workout where your muscles are nice and warm, rather than at the start of any exercise. And then let's just flex and point that top foot. So now we're getting a bit more of a calf stretch here. Good. And then we're going to bend that knee and place the same foot on the opposite thigh. So I'll turn this way so you can see the shape. So we're making this kind of figure 4 shape. And as you're here, if you can't really feel that stretch, you can take the hands through the gap and take hold behind that left thigh. But that already probably feels like quite a stretch. If it doesn't, you just go to that next step. So I'm just going to hold that here for about 5 more seconds. And then releasing it down. And then bringing the left knee into the chest, giving it a hug. And just taking those gentle circles round. If you feel a bit more flexible, we can make them a bit bigger, obviously. Just going with what feels good for your hips and your lower back. And reversing the circles. Good. And then gently taking hold behind the thigh, starting to extend that leg. Again, you'll probably find that one side feels a lot looser than the other, very common. Just watch when you're doing this stretch that your hips aren't lifting up, so you want to keep those hips anchored down into the mat. So you might need to just bend the knee a bit more to do that. And then let's flex the foot there to get that slightly higher stretch up into the calf. Good. And then bending that knee, placing the foot on the opposite thigh, making that figure 4 shape. Think of pushing that knee away from you, so you're pushing your knee forwards as you do that stretch. And if you want to, you can take the hands through the gap. That feels like a better, deeper stretch for you, but there's no pressure to do that. Good, and then placing both feet down. From there, we're going to hug both knees into the chest, give them a tight squeeze. And let's just take a gentle rock from side to side. So that also feels like a really nice massage and stretch for the lower back, the back of the hips. And then let's stretch the arms over the head, stretch the legs long, full body stretch here. Imagine someone's pulling you in opposite directions, growing taller. And then releasing the arms down by sides, bending the knees. We're going to roll over onto one side and then very slowly make your way up to standing. So not standing up too quickly, otherwise we'll get a head rush. So slowly coming up to stand. And then when we get there, let's just stretch out our chest muscles. So we're going to take the arms behind the back, clasping the hands together, opening through the chest. So try to lift the eye line slightly here, so you're getting that extra open through the top of the chest. Good. And then clasping the hands in front. This time, turn the palms away and push the hands forward. So you're rounding the back here. Like you're getting that curved shape for the back, and that should also feel really nice for the upper back, especially after those arm exercises we did. And then releasing the arms down, finally just releasing the head. So we're going to bring one ear over to one shoulder, just letting the head hang here. Still keeping the head facing forwards, but just letting that ear drop down. Let's bring that underneath arm and just very gently press on the side of the head. And that should feel like a really nice stretch for the neck. Good if you get any tension in the head and the neck. And then bringing that head back to center. Changing sides, so bringing that opposite ear to the opposite shoulder. And then bring that underneath hand gently onto the side of the heads. And then bringing that head back to center, releasing the arms down. We'll finish with a deep breath in. So reaching the arms all the way up as you breathe in, filling the lungs. Breathing out, push the arms away. Let's do that once more. So deep breath in, reaching those arms up, filling the lungs up. And this time just shake those arms down. Shake out the body. Give yourself a clap.